Hey Linda, I'm gonna go for a bike ride. I got Stanley out here. I'm gonna make us some coffee before I go.
Okay, sounds good.
Well, I made it out today. It's been kind of a nasty spring so far. We had 2 days of 70-degree weather this past week, and then the day after that we got 5 inches of snow, and then snowy the next day. Today is windy but warm. It's supposed to get up around 60 degrees. There's no water over the dam right now, but there's so much snowpack in the mountains that that's going to be flowing pretty good here pretty soon. My plan is to head down the river here and see if I can find a sheltered place, maybe make some lunch today. I'm just happy to be out. This paved trail runs for a little ways, and then it turns to dirt. I'm just afraid it's going to be muddy on the dirt trails, but we'll see. We'll be getting off this paved track here pretty soon. Man, I'm excited to be out, though. Yeah, old man winter had me cooped up for the last month or 6 weeks. I'll tell you, since we got back from Arizona, this is super. Hello.
Hello.
There's a lot of people out today because it's the first nice day in a while. Well, months maybe. It's Sunday, middle of April. You guys know I don't care much for winter, but winter here is beautiful. It's just that the part I don't care for is it keeps me cooped up. I'm not into winter sports. Is the trail dry? Yeah, thanks. Well, those folks just told me that it was dry out here, and that's good. So how did I end up in Montana coming from Hawaii? Well, I'll tell you. Linda and I were living in Hilo, Hawaii. We owned a house down there that we built ourselves pretty much. We had the shell put up, and then we built the rest of it, and it was comfortable. But she was working for a helicopter company, loading and unloading passengers. I worked for 2 different companies flying Volcano tours. I did that for the last 10 years I was there. And I was working 2 jobs. One job, I flew a open cockpit Waco biplane. It would fit 2 people in the front, and I would fly from the rear. What a wonderful aircraft that was. It was so smooth, and the people felt so safe in that deep cockpit up front, because the cockpit came all the way up to their shoulders. Not one person ever got airsick in that aircraft. Now, in the Cessna 172 that I started flying tours in, somebody would get sick every day. At least one person would lose it, But not in that Waco. The other aircraft that I flew for the other company was a MAL Super Rocket, little 5-place aircraft. It was like the Swiss Army knife of airplanes. It was so wonderful. What a great, great aircraft the small Super Rocket is. But anyway, hey, one thing I can tell you, one little story I can relate to you is in that old beat up Cessna that I started flying tours in when I first started, I flew the Dalai Lama down over the volcano. And he had 2 monks with him. They rode in the back seat, and the Dalai Lama rode up front in the front seat. And The two in the back got really airsick. The Dalai Lama had a great time. He absolutely loved it. So I flew him down over the volcano. Then on the way back, we went and we saw a bunch of cars parked around this big tree out in the middle of this field. And we went down and I circled around the tree just to see what all the cars were doing there, because it was out in the middle of nowhere. Everybody started running for their cars, and it dawned upon me that it was a chicken fight, an illegal chicken fight. And they thought that we were the cops or something, coming to spy on them. Then I flew back out to the coastline and we circled over the nude beach. He thought that was so funny. Anyways, we had a great time. And that old beat up Cessna 172 was stuffing coming out of the seats. Yeah, I see other people out here on the trail right now. Don't know how to dress. I had to put on layers, and it's starting to get warm now. You can never tell in Montana. It could turn cold again in 15 minutes. It can go from nice to not. But we ended up here. Well, the deal was I was working 2 jobs, Linda was working, and at the end of every month there wasn't 2 nickels to rub together, and things are so expensive in Hawaii. Our mortgage rate was really low because we had built our own house, so it was only a few $100s a month, but I think $600 a month or something, but we couldn't make ends meet. And I took a job flying in Alaska and flying for a lodge up there. While I was up there, I happened to be looking at the Sunday paper one morning, and I noticed that there was lots of jobs. In Hawaii, there was no jobs at the time, nothing. Up there was a lot of good jobs. And the other thing was that the grocery store prices were way cheaper than Hawaii. And I figured if they were that much cheaper in Alaska than in Hawaii, then down in the lower 48, it was going to be better. So I started looking for work here, and I accepted a flying job here in Montana, flying Cessna Caravans for FedEx through a company called Corporate Air. We flew their airplanes for them, but that's another story in itself. I don't know if you're interested, but I'll tell you about it. So here I am, hired straight out of Hawaii. I have to go to flight training in Memphis, Tennessee, and it was flight safety for a 2-week training program. Getting towards the end of that training program, I told them, I says, hey, when do I learn about how to fly in icing conditions? And they said, oh, don't worry about it. When you get up to Montana, the other pilots up there, they'll teach you all about that. So my next stop was up to Montana, and for 2 weeks training up here. And there was no icing conditions, even though it was September. We didn't get into anything. And so now it's like the middle of October, and I'm out on the line and I'm starting to fly, and I had no icing training. That's the way my job started here, and I had to figure out how not to die, and pretty much on my own. The only thing I could do is ask the other pilots after a flight what I should have done. You know what I mean? So, but that's how I ended up in Montana. We never intended to stay. So what the heck happened? Because we've been here like 24 years now or something like that. Well, let's go climb this hill. And I'm fully loaded too. We'll see about this. I'm on the Magicycle Deer today. That's the one with the rear suspension. And it's got plenty of power, but I'm really loaded too. I got cooking gear and, you know, things like that on board. I don't know if I can make it up this hill or not. Maybe. It's not easy, this load, but hey, I can do it. All right. On top of that, I'm out of shape. Well, we stayed here in Montana, and everybody told us in Hawaii before we left that Linda was going to have a hard time here because people were so prejudiced. So much white supremacy, and that turned out to not be even close to true. Linda's never had a problem here, and the thing about the people of Montana is they're really nice. I saw a video this morning And it was comparing people back east to people out west. And it said, for example, if you're riding your bike out west, like in LA or something, and they did mention LA, I think, and they said, if you get a flat tire, people are really nice. They'll come by and they'll say, oh man, that's too bad you got a flat. Sorry to see that. And then they'll go off and leave you to change it yourself. They say back east, people will come up and go, you stupid idiot. Don't you put any flat proof in your tires? Don't you know anything? And they'll insult you up one side and down the other while they help you change your tire. But here in Montana, if you stop by the side of the road, you have a breakdown or something, I guarantee you, people will stop and they will help. Montana is actually known for that. So that's one good thing about this place. People are nice. Not to mention this state is incredibly beautiful as you drive through it from one end to the other, from the mountains to the prairies, everything in between, the beautiful buttes of eastern Montana here, or central Montana. Charlie Russell, the painter, was from here. He painted beautiful landscapes of Montana. What are the seasons like? Well, let me tell you. First of all, let's start with summer. Summers are nice. It can get very hot. I've seen 110 here, but normally it's 90, 85 to 95 during the middle of summer. Pretty buggy. Lots of mosquitoes in the mountains and everything. You got to bring bug repellent. Summers are decent. Fall is beautiful. It gets cool. It's usually dry. We don't get too much of the fall colors out here except for along the rivers, and that's really pretty. Wintertime, believe it or not, I don't mind winter. It's dry. It gets very, very cold. It'll go down below zero and just stay there for weeks. 10 below, 20 below, 30 below, you know. It doesn't really stop you from going to the store or anything. And it's a real dry cold, but it stops you from going outside and doing anything. That's the part I don't like. Then there's spring. Oh, beautiful spring. That's my least favorite season of all. Spring is like windy, wet. You don't know what to expect from one day to the next. You can't plan nothing because of that. That's spring for you. And it goes on and on and on. You just come out of winter, and come in March, you start looking forward to the nicer weather, but it doesn't get nicer until June. Spring is the time of year when we decided that's a good time to vacate Montana and go on vacation. And that's how we started going south in the first place, was getting out of Montana in the springtime. Well, this is a nice ride today, and no, it's not muddy at all. It's dry. Well, I've been talking your ear off, and it's lunchtime. I'm looking for a shelter up here. I hope nobody's in it, because I'd like to go in there and get out of the wind and make something for lunch. I brought some stuff along. What the heck is this? Is that an air pump? This is all new. I don't know what it is. Yeah, it's a bicycle maintenance station. How you like that? That wasn't here last year. There's an air pump. And that's something for filling tires. Check this out. There's a whole bunch of tools there for repairing your bike. Allen wrenches, tool for getting your tire off in case you get it flat. There's screwdrivers. They're all here for you to use. A couple smaller wrenches. And at first this stumped me up here, but that's to hang your bike so you can work on it. I've never seen this before anywhere. Maybe they're common elsewhere, but this is the first one I've ever seen. Well, today I'm riding this Magicycle Deer. It's the same one I was riding down in Arizona. I love this bike. That rear suspension makes the handling and the stability so much better. It handles these trails so much better. Anyways, you guys, that's my ride today. If you are interested in this bike, check the video link down below. If you buy through that link down below this video, I will get a small commission off the bike, but I love this bike. What I'm making is Asian style fried rice. I got my little alcohol stove here. I'll get that going first. A little easier than trying to work with a match on a windy day. Yeah, so what I brought was rice. I put a little butter on top here just to fry it in, but the butter's actually there on top of the rice. We'll get that going first. These are little accoutrements containers that usually go in my granddaughter's lunch for school. This one's got soy sauce in it. This one's got onion powder, celery powder, garlic powder, salt and pepper, and dried chives. That's all going in there. Well, the butter's starting to melt. It's time to put in the soy sauce. This is carrots and peas and cubed Spam. Go ahead and put the seasonings in now. My daughter, Becca Lynn, supplied me. That's Samurai Mama, although she doesn't do cooking videos anymore, but I'm hoping she gets back to it because she did them very well. She's the one that gave me the seasonings in the little containers and gave me some peas and carrots to put in here. And so I know it's going to taste right. Now I'm going to go ahead and throw in the egg. Yeah, 1 egg. Well, that looks about done. I'll put on some water for some tea here while I'm at it. Yeah, I know, Gonagain's going to drink tea. It's just easier than than making coffee right now. And I like good tea, you know, like a good Lipton's tea. Yeah, it's really good. Well, I had enough alcohol to both cook my food and boil water for tea. This little pot here, a little hot right now. There we go. This little pot here, it's called a Mucket. It's a Civil War era design. This one's a modern reproduction. It's made out of tin and lead-free solder. But they would cook their food in this, boil their water in this. Don't mistake this for a corn boiler. This one has the handle on the side and the bale on top, and I think the corn boiler doesn't. But that, with the fact that it's got this nice lid on it that's attached, this is really nice. You wouldn't want to carry this hiking. It's too heavy, being made out of heavy tin. But you know, for camping and keeping in your car, this is a pretty nice little thing because of the fact that it does have a bail on the top and a handle on the side. And it looks like it probably holds about 24 ounces. Yeah, it's looking about right. Yes, there's a little sugar in the cup. The only thing missing here is a piece of pie. We'll deal with that sometime later this week, maybe. Well, I'm back underway again. Go see what the trail has here. I like to look around for changes from last time I was here, you know, which was like, I don't know, last fall sometime, I guess. The bike's a little bit too loaded to be taken on these kind of trails, but this is just a really short stretch here, and my brakes are squeaking. Okay, that was fun. Not. I'm out of shape. This bike handles leaps and bounds better than any of my other bikes. And I want to do a video and explain just exactly why that is. But that's going to be a couple months from now, I think. But if you're interested, stay tuned for that one. I'm going to explain rear suspension, what it's all about. In a couple of my previous videos, I've come out here and camped, but when it gets hotter, like now it's getting warm, it becomes pretty snaky. There's a lot of rattlers out here, and I kind of got uncomfortable with that. I think getting bit by a rattlesnake would probably ruin my whole day. Well, we're back on the pavement again. I'll go down here to the lookout, take a little peek around. This is the end of the paved trail down here. Of course, what we've been on is the Portage Trail from made famous by Lewis and Clark. The route we were on is the route that they had to travel with all their goods after they built wheeled carts to haul their heavy dugout cottonwood canoes. I think it took them 2 months to do the stretch. We did about a third of the stretch just now. It took them 2 months to do this stretch through here. Well, I rode my e-bike to the store day before yesterday, and I didn't want to lock it up outside, so I just took it inside, and I felt pretty self-conscious about it, but it's no different than taking your shopping cart inside. And I had a basket on the front, and I used that to put my groceries in, and the only person that said anything to me was the butcher. And he said, "How many miles you get off a battery like that?" That's all he said. No one else batted an eye. It must be totally normal. Well, you guys, thanks for coming along on this one today. I hope I didn't bore you too much with my chatter, but I was so excited just to get out here and go for a ride and be out and about in the outdoors on such a nice day. If you like the video, you know what to do. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you around.